I share how to make lumpy egusi soup. Very delicious and yummy. And I have these tricks that I'm using. So I'm going to show you guys. Before we get started, let me show you guys the ingredients. We have here our cow meat. We also have dry fish, our seasoning cube, and the most ingredients, okpei. Then we also have our egusi seed. Then our palm oil, stockfish. This one is one in town, very important. Who still prepares egusi soup without cow tripe? Please don't try that. We also have our salt, and in here we have our Scotch bonnet, onions, bell pepper, and shombo. Emphasis on enough crayfish, very important. And of course, our Uziza Leave as well. Alright, add in your meat, some onions, 2 seasoning cubes, and some salt as well for taste. And I'll also be adding some pepper as well for the heat, and stir this very well to combine. At this point, you're going to cover this pot to release its own juice. After 15 minutes, this is what we have. Can you see that? So you can as well choose to also cook this to dry up the water. It depends on you. If you have time, just kindly do that. It gives it more taste. So at this point, I'm going to add in my cow tripe. Okay, so as for I actually allow this cow tripe to cook while the water is also drying up. At this point, I went ahead to start washing my stockfish and my dry fish with hot water and salt, so that everything will be very clean. Okay, so and I'm actually going to open debone the dry fish, because you don't want to cook with the bony part of the fish. That is exactly what I did. Then I rinse it again before adding it inside the pot, because you want it to be sparkling clean. Okay, so this is after 15 minutes more. I went in with the dry fish and the stockfish. At this point, I'll be adding more water to it, and I'll allow it to cook for a good 30 minutes so that everything will marry each other. At that point, I went ahead to start grinding my melon. This is my hand grinder, and it's going to do a great work here. Without wasting time, I was done, and I also went ahead to wash and de-seed the peppers and also blend them very well. One thing about adding the bell pepper and the shombo pepper and all of that into your egusi soup is so that it will give it this nice color, okay, and taste. See, the reddish texture of your egusi doesn't only depend on the palm oil. At that point, you don't need a whole lot of palm oil for your egusi to come out nice looking. So this pepper is going to give it this reddish color. After 30 minutes, go ahead and check on your meat. Oh my god, hula la la la. Our stock is well cooked at this point, so I'm going to pour it out in a bowl and commence on the next thing. Next is to mix my melon. See, mixing your melon, you have to be very careful. If you add much water, you are not going to have that lump, so please add just little quantity of water so that it will be okay. So in a pan, going with some oil and onions. When I add the onions, I'm going to stir it a bit to fry to some extent. Then I'm going to be adding the melon. Before you add your egusi, make sure to mold it, please, before adding it in your oil, so that there will be no risk taken on having that lumps of egusi. Okay, so at this point, after flipping my melon, the molded melon, you'll notice that it can't scatter anymore. At this point, you're going to use your hand to break it into the size of lumps that you want it to be. At this point, you're going to dictate what you want. Just do your thing, and this is the perfect texture of what I am looking for. Since the next thing I'm going to be doing is nufeba or grifeba, that is adding everything inside the pot. That's why I went ahead to grind this okpei, and adding water is very, very important to come out with nice texture. Another thing I needed to prep this time around is getting my leaves ready. Already I've actually sliced my Uziza leaf, so right now I'm slicing the pumpkin leaf. Once I'm done with that, in a pot I went in with some oil, then I'll be adding the pepper mix. I'll stir this and allow it to fry for good 5 minutes before adding the okpei. How I wish you will understand what this okpei is going to do to your soup. So here I added the okpei, and I'm also going to go ahead and add the crayfish. I'll add all. As for the full ingredients, it's going to be on the description box. Also go ahead and add your seasoning cube and salt to taste. Then stir very well to combine. At that point, you'll notice that it's kind of darker because of the crayfish, but still popping. Since this has been achieved, I went ahead to add my meat and the meat stock. Please, if you have more meat stock, do not add more water before adding your melon. But if you have little meat stock, just as mine, you can go ahead and add more water. Today's shares goes to Global Sedzin, and he said, I subscribed. What a well-made video. Thank you so much. Please, if you are coming across my video for the very first time, you're highly welcome. And to all my beautiful creatures out here, you guys are the best. Thank you for always tuning in for your girl. So at this point, I went in with the melon and stir very well. I'm not going to add more water to this because just as we all know that melon helps to thicken your soup. But do not add water at this point. Just cover the spots to boil for 5 good minutes before adding or checking if you need to add water at that point. Okay, so I'm going to stir this and we are going to check, do we need to add water, do we so at this point I'm going to adjust more water to this because I know that I'm still going to cook this. And that's because I've not added my Uziza leaf. Once I add the Uziza leaf, we are good to go. So right now I'm going to go ahead and add the Uziza leaf and cook it for 5 good minutes so that the taste and everything will come out. Okay, we need it. So once you cover this pot, allow it to boil for 5 good minutes. After 5 minutes, this is what we have. I feel like just sending this pot of soup to you guys just to have a taste of this meal, because if you do, you'll be using this recipe whenever you want to make your melon soup, and trust me, it's just so nice. So I went in with the vegetable, the pumpkin leaf at this point, and I'll just stir and bring down the pot and your food is ready. For those of you that doesn't really know me, I'm still your girl Ella Ifnaya, a Nigerian YouTuber currently living in Anambra State, and I love making nice delicacy for people around me, and sharing my recipes to others to learn is my priority. Thank you so much. If you have watched up to this moment, do not forget to like, comment, turn your notification button so that you'll be among the first to know each time I post a new video. I'm enjoying this egusi with fufu. What do you think? Do you love enjoying yours with eba or fufu? Which one? Tell me in the comment section. Okay, bye. Thank you for watching.